Okay, gentlemen, what we're going to be talking about today is Spanish Inquisition. Way I have this imagined in my head is first I'm going to show you all the cards in a standard build. Then I'm going to talk to you about different card choices, why I've chosen what I've chosen, give you kind of an overview of everything. Then I'm going to start goldfishing the deck for you. To wit, I have different tokens to supply different colors of mana. The Eldrazi Spawn tokens I'll be using to keep track of my storm count. When goldfishing, you've got to have a good way of keeping track of everything. Otherwise, you're always playing against yourself. And you always want to think that you're a badass, so you try and do everything best. And if you can fudge your math, you lie to yourself a little bit if you just try and keep everything in your head. So, to me, it's important that you keep everything as above board as possible. And so we'll endeavor to do that. And more importantly, I kind of expect you, my viewers, to try and keep me honest. You see me fucking up? That's because I've only really played against myself with this weapon, because unfortunately I've got to get up at 4:30 every day as an army officer. Kind of sucks that way. Wouldn't trade the job for the world, but unfortunately my only legacy scene out here, the tournament starts at like 7 o'clock on Sundays. So considering it gets out at like midnight, yeah, I'm not a happy camper about that. Anyway, this is my first and probably love of Magic. When I started looking into Legacy, I looked at what can win the fastest most consistently. That was Belcher, and then someone on MTG The Source referenced Spanish Inquisition. I started reading it. I proxied up Belcher, and it was fun. But then I put this together, and it was a lot more fun. So, let's look up top row. The way I have this kind of set up is everything's four bangers of it, and then I've got the singletons later. So, initial mana source, 4 of Chrome Mox, 4 of Lion's Eye Diamond, which that's not really an initial mana source, but it is bonkers. Conditional Black Lotus, yeah, thanks, I'll take 4 of those. Lotus Petal, Elvish Spirit Guide, Cabal Ritual, Dark Ritual, Culling the Weak. I have a personal love-hate relationship against this card. If you put this together, you will too. Next things that I try and go about are ways that you search your library. Land Grant, you only have 2 lands in the deck, Dryad Arbor and Bayou, so more than likely that'll fire. Then you have Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact, I'll go over the singletons that gets. You have Infernal Tutor, and that combos greatly with LED, Lion's Eye Diamond. Then the thing that makes Spanish Inquisition, not some other weird what-the-heck deck, is Infernal Contract and Cruel Bargain, the Portal, I think it's Portal 2, copy of Infernal Contract. These, you pay half your life, rounding up, unfortunately, and you draw 4 cards. 4 cards will usually get you at least 1 business spell and at least 1 acceleration spell. The other 2, well, it depends on exactly what all you have in your hand before you can do the math. In order to win with this deck, because it only has the two lands in it, Goblin Charbelcher I have as a 4 of, and then a single Tendrils of Agony. Some people prefer the 3-2 split. But ultimately, I like having 4 of those in here. 1, because to me it's easier to get to 7 mana with all of those mana sources. 2, better sideboarding options. Normally you'd go up to the full 4 when trying to grind out against blue decks. And 3, it's more fun. I don't know. Tendrils of Agony may be the safer bet at times. I'm not saying it's not without its uses, just to me, I think it's more fun and interesting for Goblin Charbelcher. Especially considering Land Grant can grab you both of your lands, Summoner's Pact can grab you that, so half the time when you belch somebody it will usually be lethal. For the singletons in the deck, and these are the ones that pretty well can be considered malleable. Some people run Metamorphosis, some people run Tinderwall, some people do all kinds of things, and these are usually the slots that you mess around with. The 2 lands, pretty standard. This is used as a Summoner's Pact target since it is green, and then you immediately put it underneath Chrome Mox so that you can tap it for black or green mana. This slot, I believe, is going to be the next one that I cut and move around. Some people just think of Wild Cantor as a free storm. Well, it does do that. I look at it as a way to Summoner's Pact and then remove Elvish Spirit Guide, push it through there to get your initial black mana so that you can just start going crazy when you don't have one of those little guys. Or you need every single card in your hand and you need that initial black source. Slithermuse, I recommend you go and look this one up on Star City Games, and unfortunately my thing doesn't exactly want to focus that close. Often it reads draw 7 mana for 3 colorless, 1 blue. Past in Flames and Iggy, Ill-Gotten Gains. You'll hear it called the Iggy Loop on most of the forums and everything. These guys serve very similar purposes, but in the end they're ways of manipulating the graveyard and getting winning straight out. Past in Flames gives all of your instants and sorceries in your graveyard flashback, and it has flashback itself, so you can use Lion's Eye Diamond to discard Past in Flames, use the flashback cost in Past in Flames, and then start chewing through your graveyard at a prodigious rate. Ill-Gotten Gains, this one's been in my deck for a while. Verclick's on the source. He's recently added this, I believe. And to me, it's perfect because when you have Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual or Dark Ritual, or Lion's Eye Diamond, if you have 2 of those in your graveyard and have an Infernal Tutor, or you play Bing Bang Boom, crack that in response to casting that to where you're hellbent and can search for anything, you often grab Ill-Gotten Gains, and it returns 3 cards back to your hand. So you grab 1, 2, and 3, put them back in your hand, generate more storm, more mana, and if you can't go straight up to that guy and kill them off of that, which by the time that you've actually gone through and cycled through this guy, that guy, that guy, this guy back again, then do that back, and then that's I think that's 8 right there. If you can't handle it, eventually you have to learn, unfortunately, the complex process of the Iggy Loop. I've got an Excel spreadsheet that I used. I hand jammed it myself That way I get it into my head if I have this and that, and I can do the Iggy loop. Exactly how much mana in Storm do I need to go lethal based off of that? Push comes to shove, you do the same dang thing off of your different ways of going about it, and you just immediately go over to Goblin Charbelcher. Or you go to Past in Flames, flash everything back in your graveyard, and that would include one of those, because you used it to search up for this guy, and there. Basically, this deck is so freaking complicated that it is ridiculous. So I'm going to try and show you some of the better, worse, the everything about this deck. Hopefully you can poke holes in what I'm saying, but ultimately I'm trying to educate you and me at the same time. There is one thing that I personally do, and it's something that I'm pretty sure the masters of this deck will look at me something funny about, because they think that this guy is probably the next most expendable. When you have Past in Flames in the deck, because you want red mana pretty often, that means that you'll definitely be running this. But I also like running Tinderwall, because Summoner's Pact Tinderwall is +2 mana. So what I do is, I have had so many times where I don't have a creature to give up to Culling the Weak, that I simply go and, well, I'm going to be cutting this guy, which some people will be saying is bad, for that. So it's not exactly the most standard thing, but ultimately it's my play style, and when you start playing around with some of these, you've got to just do your own thing. Anyway, on to the games.